What's up, guys? Welcome back to the latest edition of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and I'm back in my original area, as you can see here, guys. Back in the man cave. You know, I was away last week, but now I'm back, and you guys showed a lot of support in last week's video, man. I gotta say, I mean, some people agree with what I was saying about Ben Roethlisberger, and others really got in their feelings about it, but I really appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts. That's what it's all about. There's no right and wrong answer. I love all of the comments. It's still going. It's close to 4,000 views right now. So, I mean, clearly the biggest showing that I've seen in Terrible Towel Tuesday. So I appreciate that support, and keep on, keep on commenting, guys. If you haven't seen it, go check out the last one. I'll put a link in the description. I basically was saying, are you tired of Ben Roethlisberger being a drama queen? And the funny thing is, man, I've realized people don't watch the whole video. You know, some people just come and comment. They see the title and they just comment. You know, people were accusing me for being a hater. I'm like, okay, did you guys not hear me say how much I love Big Ben on the field? I was just giving my opinion on how he chooses to handle himself off the field, throws coaches under the bus from time to time, and just says some things that I think need to be in-house. That's it. Other than that, I have no criticisms of Ben Roethlisberger. But like I said, I appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts just the same. I like the good, I like the bad, I just like comments, and I like Steeler fans going back and forth, having dialogue about Steelers. All right, so what we're going to talk about today, man, and I will assume this will be a very, very quick video. We're getting to that point of the year, guys, where we're struggling for content right now. We just had the mini camp, the rookie mini camp, or what have you. There's going to be a low period a little bit. We got OTAs coming up in about a week or so maybe we'll, have some more information to talk about. But I just wanted to talk really quickly, about the mini camp. Not a whole lot to talk about, and I definitely want to address what I put in the title, where I did mention my biggest concern. Right now at this point of the season, what my biggest concern is as far as position. And it might not be exactly the position that most people are talking about, but you'll see. So as far as the mini rookie camp, man, always good to hear good things about these guys. I know a lot of people like to call it football in shorts. You really are not getting the football experience, but I think what you can get from mini camps, you hear Coach Tomlin say it, you hear other guys say it as far as staff members, that you can kind of gauge where a guy is mentally. You can gauge, where he is conditioning wise. You can also kind of gauge the raw talent that he may have, that he possesses, particularly skilled position guys, your wide receivers, your quarterbacks, guys like that. As far as defense, your DBs and linebackers, I guess you can tell what type of feet they have, lateral quickness, things like that. I would imagine it's the same things, guys, that you look at in the, at the pre-draft experience, the combine experience and the pro day experience. I would imagine it's the same stuff that you're able to see up close and personal, but also adding a little bit of context to it, where you're allowing guys to see the playbook, go through some of the terminology and things of that nature. So to that regard, it is a much closer look. And again, you're able to see the physical tools that some of these guys have, the raw tools that they have without the pads on, obviously. But I think it's still good. Hearing good things, man, about some of the guys that we would expect to hear about. You're hearing good things about Mason Rudolph and James Washington. Hearing that these guys have made some good plays. They're some heady guys. They're saying that these guys seem to be picking up things pretty well. But you expect, Rudolph and Washington to have that connection. Obviously, the dynamic duo that they were back in college. You would imagine that would be, very easy for them to, kind of pick up speed and learn together and have that chemistry as far as, just knowing each other, even if they are learning a new system. But it's still good to hear. I think James Washington is a guy that's actually going to play a lot this season. Now, guys, you may be hearing some background noise here. There's a storm going on right now. Tornado watch we're in, but it's thundering and lightning, so you may hear that. So excuse the noise if you hear that. But yeah, outside of that, guys, let me get back to what I was saying. It's good to hear, James Washington is making plays already, showing he has a great hands, which we saw, and just, again, showing his raw ability. And Mason Rudolph, man, able to make some throws. They did say he had some issues with some, center exchanges because, for you guys that don't know, in college, he played a good majority, 90% or more majority of the time he was in the shotgun. So he hasn't necessarily had that, center to quarterback exchange under center. So they did say there was a couple issues there, which you would expect for any quarterback coming out of a system or a college system like that. And now they're doing something that they haven't been doing their whole college career. You would expect that. And then also, you know, maybe the center had some issues as well. Who knows? Well, they're all nervous. You know, you got trial guys out there and undrafted guys. So everyone is trying, you know, to do the best they can to make the 90-man roster. So, you know, obviously you're going to have those type of situations. Guys have jitters and things of that nature. So, you know, these are some of the things that you expect. But anyway, again, getting back to Washington, I'm glad to hear that, you know, he's looking like what they think he was. You know, obviously we've seen his college film, but it's always good to hear that the rookies are getting off to a good start, because you have heard guys in the past. You've heard where some rookies, sometimes these guys are not picking it up. You know, they're looking a little suspect even that early. So it's always good to hear that guys are off to a good start. A couple other things I want to talk about really quickly, man. The position that I'm really keeping my eye on, there's a couple, but we'll talk about my concern in a minute. But let me go into the positions that I'm looking at, you know, out of these mini camps and tryouts, etc. I'm really focusing on the inside linebacker position. Obviously, I want to see what Matthew Thomas is going to be. Again, I'm familiar with him being a nose fan. I think this guy has all of the physical attributes. You know, he's a spark guy, you know, high spark scores. I believe he was up in the 140s. Steelers love guys like that, big and athletic, has speed. You know, he put up a 4.5 40 and was said that he ran a 4.4 or a sub 4.4, sub 4.5 at his pro day. You know, so either way, he's averaging a 4.5 40-yard dash. I'll take that any day. You know, we've become very accustomed to speed at middle linebacker since Ryan Shazier. So it's good to see that he has those measurables and, you know, his size and things of that nature. But the thing that, you know, you're hearing the most about with any criticism with Matthew Thomas is his consistency. I can honestly say that myself as well, watching him at Florida State. He has all of the tools, man. He's gifted. He's a gifted athletic freak. But his consistency, we'll have to see how that plays out. You know, he did have some injury issues in college, a couple surgeries and things of that nature, and he got into some other trouble, you know, off field. So, you know, he had some up and downs while at Florida State, but he's bounced back his last, you know, I'll say year and a half of being at Florida State and showed what he's capable of. So I think this is a guy that we want to keep an eye on. I mean, obviously some of you guys already know this, but, you know, for those that don't, let's keep an eye on him. He has a very, very strong chance, in my opinion, out of the UDFAs that will make the team, you know, particularly because of, you know, we don't really have a lot of depth at inside linebacker. We didn't address inside linebacker in the draft. So obviously we're all keeping our eyes on who can perk up and be a go-to guy or a backup guy in that capacity. Now, speaking of that, you know, getting to some more of the minicamp situations, you know, we're hearing reports that both Terrell Edmunds, our #1 draft pick, as well as Marcus Allen, 5th-round draft pick, both safeties. We heard that they both saw time at safety and some dime sub-package linebacker. Very interesting, right? Now, for most of us, you know, a lot of us were saying after we saw what the Steelers were doing, a good amount of us, you know, you guys included, we all said, hey, what they're probably going to do is try to, you know, rotate safeties more and try to cover up the lack of Ryan Shazier with going with more safeties in the box, maybe some 3 safety sets. We assume that they definitely would want to get another guy like that on the field during sub-package situations, as you hear the air conditioning coming on there, all kinds of background noise, but it is what it is, guys. Y'all know how it goes. But yeah, you know, with knowing that these guys, knowing what they went after, you know, you already got Sean Davis, who, you know, is capable of playing in the box, and, you know, his cover skills is still a little suspect. I know we still got a sour taste in our mouths, you know, since that Patriots game. I mean, you know, one, you got to say, hey, it is I'm getting tongue-tied. One, it is Gronkowski. Good, I can't say the guy's name. Gronk, let's just say Gronk. You know, it is big Gronkowski, man. That's one thing, you got to give him his credit. But number 2, I mean, some of that could have been Mike Mitchell. And then number 3, you know, Sean Davis just wasn't able to, you know, be a better defender against Gronk. So, you know, I know a lot of people have a sour taste in their mouths from Sean Davis. I still like Sean Davis. I like what he can bring to the table. He did make some plays last year. Let's not forget. And again, let's not forget he may still be moved to free safety. So we have to see how that's going to play out, knowing that Morgan Burnett has played both inside the box and outside. I see a situation where starting the season, I'm seeing and I'm feeling that they are going to try Sean Davis at free safety, and they are going to start Burnett at strong. And I definitely believe that Terrell Edmunds will get a lot of time in sub package. And hey, I think Marcus Allen as well. You know, he's another big kid. He's probably a better hitter and in the box guy than he is a rangy guy. So I can see a situation where they're rotating both of these guys in sub package situations. So I think that they both will get, you know, an ample amount of playing time, which is very, very good for us. The interesting part about this, man, if you look at the safety class the way it is right now, the safety grouping, I guess you could say, it's a totally different, you know, unit than what we saw last season. You know, think about who's probably going to make the roster. We already know that Sean Davis is going to make the team. Obviously, Morgan Burnett. And then you're looking at, you know, these newcomers. Terrell Edmunds, obviously. I think Marcus Allen will definitely make the team, even though he's a 5th-round pick. And you got Nat Burhay, or Beret. I hope I'm saying his name correctly, but you guys know the special teams demon that we signed. They call him the Missile. You know, that's probably going to be our starting cast at safety. And we're only looking at one remaining safety that we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years. So they've completely revamped that. All right, so I'm a little optimistic about this secondary, you know, with it being tuned up. You know, you're looking at a Joe Haden being able to, you know, get a full offseason with the Steelers. And I haven't given up on Artie Burns. We'll see what Burns can do. And definitely, you know, one guy that really excites me is Cam Sutton. Let's see what Cam Sutton is able to bring to the table. But we can, at this moment, secondary-wise, we can say the arrow may be pointed up in that regard. But yeah, man, just getting back to the minicamp situation, again, you know, talking about those two guys, Edmunds and Allen, it was good to hear what we all pretty much figured. You know, they got some time at sub-package linebacker as well as, you know, safety, and there you have it. You know, these guys are probably going to be very instrumental in terms of what we're trying to do this season in the secondary and covering up for the holes at inside linebacker, bringing these guys in. You know, it's sub-package football most of the time anyway. I like our chances, but we'll see how everything plays out, man, in OTAs and, of course, training camp. That will decide it all. Now, let me think. What else did I want to talk about as far as training camp? Well, mini camp, I mean. Oh, the wide receiver position. That's going to be interesting, man, because there's a hole there as well. You know, of course, you know, we got James Washington, but again, you know, looking at the depth, you know, who is it going to be? Is it Justin Hunter really going to make the team? Is Haywood Bay really going to make the team? You know, Eli Rogers, he's posting videos of him running again. You know, I'm thinking if he's back healthy, they probably bring him back. But then you got a guy like Marcus Tucker, you know, who I root for, a practice squad guy. And again, guys, y'all are hearing a ton of noise, you know, down here in the man cave, guys. I get the water when it's running, the air conditioning, the condensation pump. Is what it is, man. But I at least, you know, want to be courteous and let you guys know what you're hearing if that's disturbing you. Yeah, you know, you got Marcus Tucker and you got a couple other guys that they brought in. You know, the kid, I can't remember his name now, but there was a guy that, you know, a tryout guy that they've re-signed. I mean, not re-signed, but they've signed to bring him on to the 90-man roster. So you just never know what's going to happen. It's always one or two guys that surprises you. But I'm very intrigued as far as the inside linebacker position. Hopefully Matthew Thomas can do something, as well as, you know, seeing what's going to happen at wide receiver, who's going to round that out, who's going to be a special teams guy. Maybe Quadri Henderson is the guy that you know, solidifies that. But we'll see. So those two positions are the most intriguing to me because we really don't know what's going to happen there. I like the Jalen Samuels as I looked at more of his tape. You know, that's the running back from North Carolina State, Swiss Army knife, does everything. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he gets on the field. You know, this could be a guy that gets more time than James Conner only because he can do so much. So it's going to be very interesting there. Now, last but not least, guys, before I wrap this up, here's the one position and the biggest concern that I have about this upcoming season as of this moment, right now. And we don't know what's going to happen in training camp, but we're talking about right now. Outside linebacker. guys, the depth is very thin. I mean, I know we could say that about inside linebacker, but outside linebacker is also very thin. Because look at what we have, man. After you get past TJ Watt and Bud Dupree, which Bud hasn't really been stud Dupree. He's been more like Dud Dupree, you know, not trying to call him out, but it is what it is. Who do we have behind him? You know, you got Chicolo, who's always been a, camp phenom type of guy, but hasn't necessarily delivered on a consistent basis. Didn't get a lot of playing time last year. But who do you have after that? I think the guy, Farragut Huganen, is an outside linebacker. Keon Adams. Hopefully, you know, a lot of people feel like he's a steal. We kind of had high hopes on him last year. Let's see if he stays healthy. But outside of that, there's no depth there. You know, you lose a TJ Watt, or if you lose a Bud Dupree who has had injury concerns, who's next? It makes you wonder, are they going to go out and grab a guy like Arthur Moats and bring him back in the fold at inside linebacker? Do you think they've moved all the way away from Lawrence Timmons? Maybe they bring him back. I don't know. But to me, I'm more concerned with outside linebacker and pass rush guys than I am the inside linebacker, because I think Bostic will be able to handle the job for the most part. Hopefully he stays healthy. And I think a guy like Matthew Thomas will be able to make the team and be a nice rotational piece. And again, sub-package football. I think we're gonna compensate for that loss with the safeties that we now have on the squad. So I'm actually more concerned with our edge rushers than I am inside linebacker, even though we all saw that as a gaping hole going into the draft. So that's something to think about, guys. What's going to happen in that position? As far as everything else, last thing I did want to mention, Ben Roethlisberger, I heard that he did reach out to Mason Rudolph, so that's good. That's good. And again, I have no problem with Ben on field. I just feel like there's certain things that he should keep in-house. You don't have to say everything. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, if he's asked a question, I get all of that. But come on, man. There's some things about the team, about players, about coaches that need to be left in-house. That's all I'm saying. Outside of that, my criticisms are very minimal of Ben Roethlisberger. And I love the guy, and I want him to definitely be our quarterback until he's ready to go. Unless, of course, he starts falling off. Then let's get Mason Rudolph up to speed. But anyway, man, that's going to do it for this particular episode, man. If I missed anything that you guys wanted me to talk about, please let me know in the comments. I'll notate it down, jot it down, and we'll try to get that in the next episode. But outside of that, man, you know the routine. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Cut on your notifications so you know when videos are available. And I promise, guys, it'll never hurt you to hit that like button. All right, so before we get out of here, let's get a here we go Steelers. Let's be optimistic. Right now, it seems like we might have some new things going on in the secondary, but hey, it's still May. We don't know what's going to happen come training camp, etc., etc. All right, so that's all I got, man. I'll see you guys next week. Y'all be good. Peace. Thank you.